What is going on, people? Tunji again from Ceasar Graphix. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you will be notified when I post my tutorials. Okay, so today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make this simple looking movie poster, and this is what we're going to be doing today. All right, so without any further ado, let's jump into today's tutorial. All right, so let's create a new document. So I'm going to go to File, New, and I'm going to just use 1080 by 1350. Okay, so I'm going to give the project a name. I'm just going to call it MOV. So that's movie poster, and my resolution should be 120. Since I'm not printing this, I just want to put this on Instagram, and I'm going to leave the background the way it is, and I'm just going to say okay. So first we need to bring in the picture of our road. So I'm going to go to the exercise file now. I'm going to drag that and drop here like so, and I'm going to scale this big. All right, that's it. So this should be somewhere here. I'll bring in the picture of character, which is this. I'm just going to position this somewhere here. All right, so I'm going to position it here. So okay, so the next thing we're going to do is to crop out this part of this layer of the background of the road layer. So I'm just going to come here and just going to draw something like this. All right, so I'm just going to click to add a vector mask, and I'm going to add the picture of the hill. So drag that and drop like so, and this should go behind this layer. I need to add another marquee selection, so I'm just going to drag, and I'm going to fill the vector mask with blacks, and I'm going to hit out backspace, so it's looking as if the road is actually going down from here. And so I'm going to just zoom in. All right, and I'm going to select the brush. I'm going to select I'm going to go to my brush settings here, and I'll select brush, and I'll select this type of brush, and I'll close the space. So now what I'm going to do is I'm trying to blend this these sharp edges of my background with the hue. I'm just going to reduce the size of my brush. I'll make sure I'm on this vector max box here, and I'm just going to make sure my flow is set to 100, and I'm just going to brush like so. Like so. All right, now for this side, right, we need to add we need to blur this part of the road layer. So I'm just going to select the blur tool and increase the strength to something around let's say 80. All right, and I'm going to use the blur tool to blur those sharp edges. So make sure you are on this vector mark box here before you apply the blur tool. So I'm just going to brush like so, and do the same thing here, and blur this like so. All right, so that's it. Beautiful. All right, so if you look at it now, you see that my background is a little bit too bright, so I'm just going to reduce the brightness a little bit by selecting curve adjustment, and I'm going to click on this icon to say I only want it to apply to the background layer. So I'm just going to drag that down just a little bit and push this up like so. I'll come here and draw this. So shades So hold down shift to add that part to the marquee selection. Okay, so I want these trees, all right, to be part of my selection. So I'm just going to hold down Control Shift and I to invert the selection, and I'm going to go to select and mask, and I'm going to zoom in. So I'm trying to add these trees to the part of my selection. So I'm just going to brush like so. Now make sure you're on the refine edges too. So I'm just going to brush to add those trees to my selection. All right, so I think I like it this way. Then I'm just going to select the layer mask option, and I'm going to just check this box to make the selected area more stronger, and every other thing is fine. I'm just going to hit the OK button. So as you can see now, you see I have my selection in a vector mask. The next thing we're going to now do is to bring in the picture of the lady. So I'm just going to drag that and drop like so. And I'm going to move that to somewhere around here, and I'm going to scale it big like so. Convert the project to black and white. So to do that, I'm just going to select the black and white option here on the adjustment panel, and for the red, I'm just going to push that back in, and now as you can see that my black and white is behind the layer of my character, so I need to push that above it. So I'm just going to drag that like so, and this should go down, and I'll push the yellow up just like so. I need to change the color of our outfit to I want something more darker. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select the pen tool, all right, and I am going to just crop out the outfit. Hit enter. So I'm going to just select the curve adjustments, all right, and I'm just going to drag this down. I'm just going to drag this down and say I want it to apply to just only that layer. Now if I zoom in, now you see the edges of my selection is too sharp, so I am going to let me push this back. So I'm going to go to the mask option here, and I'm going to add a little bit further to it just to blend it like so. All right, so this is nice. So I'm just I need to darken this a little bit, so I'm just going to come here and so for the picture of the lady, we need to add dodge and burn to this. So I'm just going to make a copy of this, right click, rasterize it, and convert it to black and white. So I'm going to select the desaturation option here, and this should be above this layer, and I'm going to go to filter, order, and I'm going to select high pass. Then I'm going to dial this up like so, and I'll hit OK. Then for the blend option, I'm just going to select soft light, or let's use overlay, and I'll put everything in a group. So I'm going to hit Ctrl G, all right, and I'll call this then I'll add curve adjustment again, because I need to separate the highlight from the shadow. So I'm just going to drag this down, all right, to adjust the shadow, and this should move the highlight up like so. Just like this. Oops. I'll put this up like so. All right. So the next thing we are going to do is to add the sunlight effect to our background. So I am going to bring in the same image of the road, all right, and I'm going to move that. I'm going to scale it big. And I'm going to make this be above all the layers. All right, so I'm going to push this up so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to move this above all the layers. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this and rasterize it and hit the Ctrl I option on my keyboard, and I'm going to hide this layer. I need to add a cloud. All right, I need to add a cloud, a grayscale cloud somewhere around here like so, and I am going to move this below the layer of the lady. I need to create a new layer to create a black and white. So I'm going to hold on Alt and click on the new layer icon, and I'm just going to call this. So I'm going to draw a marquee selection around here like so, and I'll fill this with the color of my foreground. So to do that, I'm going to hold on Alt and hit backspace on my keyboard. For Mac users is option backspace, and I'm going to just bring in the picture of the heel again, and I'll drag this down to somewhere on here, and I'll put this inside the cloud layer, and I'm going to push this here. I'll drag this up to somewhere around here like so. All right, that is nice. I like it this way. So the next thing we are going to do is to go back to the layer of the road again and make that visible. But before I do that, we need to select the layers of the lady and the layer of the black and white. So to do that, I'm going to hold down Control and click on the thumbnail of the black and white cloud layer. So then I'm going to go to the layer of the lady, and I'll hold down Control Shift again and select the layer, the thumbnail of the layer of the lady, and I'm going to look at this part where I have this this unselected part. I'm going to go to marquee selection, and I'm just going to hold down Shift and drag to add that part to my selection. And I'm going to select the layer of the road, and I'm going to hold down Control Shift and I, which is Command Shift and I for Mac users, and I'm going to make this visible, and I am going to add a vector mask like so. We need to move this to the position where feel it's okay for us. So to do that, we need to break the chain, because if you don't and you try to move the layer, you see that the cut out part is with the cloud layer. So I'm just going to hit the Ctrl Z or Command Z on my keyboard to go back, and I'll break this connection between them so as to be able to move the cloud. So I've selected the layer, the cloud layer now, and I can move this to any direction that I want it. So I'm just going to I remember I rotated this the other time, but I wanted to go back to the way it was. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is to create a new layer. All right, and I'll call this sun glow. Then I am going to go to the gradient tool here, and I'm just going to make sure I have the radial option selected. And if I go in here, this is the gradient color that I use. So if you want to see the code, I'm just going to click on each of them, and then I'll move it here so you guys can see the code, and then you can copy it and just use it as your color for your gradient. So that's for the first one. And then for the second one, so this is it here, and for the last one, I'm just gonna click, and this is it here. So you don't always forget to, this location matters a lot. All right, so I'm just going to move each one of them to the location where I think is nice for what I want to do. So I think that is fine. I'm just gonna hit OK. So what I'm just gonna do is to hold down Alt and drag to copy this vector max on the sun glow layer, and I'm going to do that right now. All right, so now if I draw on that layer, you see that it's not affecting every part of my project. So I'm just going to drag this. So what's actually causing this is because this needs to move a little bit to this side. All right, So I'm going to hit OK, and let's do it again. So if I drag now, excellent. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just change my blend mode to highlights. I'm going to connect these layers back. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to pick a color from here, all right, and I'm going to make the color be in between these two layers, and I'm just going to call this red. I need to select the brush tool here. And as you can see, it's affecting the face of the lady. So we need to do the same thing we did previously by holding down Alt or Option and then drag to just make it to not make it touch the face of our character. So I'm just going to drag that and reduce the flow just a little bit. All right, and I'm just going to drag that like that. Then the next thing we are going to do is to create a new layer. All right. And this time I'm going to pick a color from here and use a lighter shade of yellow like this, and I'll hit OK. So then I'm going to just apply that vector mask again to this layer. I hold on Alt or Option for Mac users and drop like so, and I'm just going to brush this side like this. So now as you can see, is affecting the cloud. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to I want to be able to split this, but I need to scale this. So I'm just going to break the chain and scale this big like so. All right, and I'll hit enter. All right, so for this one, so as you can see, is affecting some part of the cloud. So I'll scale it big again. Oh, excuse me. So we need to break the chain. So I'll break the chain, hit Ctrl T on my keyboard, and I'll scale this big. I need to click on the chain to connect the image and the vector mask, and I'm just going to double click here to add the blend if effects. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push from this side down to about this point. All right, I'll hold on Alt or Option and then break the connection between the two wheels, and I'll push this out to about this point, and this should go in like so. All right, so I think I am fine with this, but I'm still not cool with the way my cloud is here. So I need to break this chain and come here and push this down till I am okay with the look. So for this one, I need to connect the chain back again. For this one, I'm just going to drag, or break the chain. Just need to scale this a little bit. All right, like so. And I'll hit enter, and I'll hit the razor tool to just increase the size. So I'm using the razor tool now, so I'm just going to adjust this side like so. All right, and so the next thing we are going to do is to take our project to camera raw. Select the first layer like so. All right, and I'll hold down Ctrl Shift Alt and E to stamp visible of the layer, all the layers. All right, so next we are going to right click on this and convert it to smart objects so that we can still, if we still want to go back to the vector, to the camera raw to edit our project, we'll be able to do that. So I'm just going to go to filter now, camera raw filter, and on the camera raw filter, all right, I'm just going to add a little bit of purple. All right, like so. And for my contrast, I'm just going to push that in. Then for the exposure needs to go down just a little bit. And for my highlights, all right, I need to dial that up so as to increase the strength of the sunlight here. All right, and for my shadow, my shadow needs to go down. All right, white needs to go down so as to be able to see this heel effect here. So I'm just going to push that down to about that point. All right, and so for the texture, I'm going to push that up to add details to my character like so. And for the clarity, I'm going to push that up so as to add contrast to my pixels. like so. All right, so I think my character is getting too dark, so I think the problem is from here and here, like so. All right, I think I like it this way. All right, then the next thing we are going to do is to go straight into the HSL adjustment. So under the hue, I'm just going to add push the red back a little bit, like so. So for the orange, which is the edges of my sun effects, I'm just going to push that so about this point. And for my yellow, I'm just going to push that back like so. So for the saturation of the colors, for the red, I'm going to just reduce the strength of the red just like so. And then for the orange, I think I need more orange, so I'm just going to dial that up like so. And for the yellow, that also needs to go up like so. All right, so this is what I'm actually adjusting, just for those of you that don't know. And for the luminance, so I need to brighten the color of my yellow. The luminance is like the highlight, so I'm just going to push the yellow up like so. And as you can see, as I'm pushing it up, you see I'm having this light effect inside my sun effect. So I'm just going to push that. I'm going to push the orange also up a little bit like so. All right, and for the curve, I need to push this down and drag this up, this down to about this point, because I'm trying to make this place a little bit more darker. All right, so I'm just going to push that up like so. Okay, now as you can see, it's affecting the face of my character. All right, so we need to work on that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to select the brush to here, and I'm just going to say I don't want the effect that I apply to everything now to apply to my character. So I'll come here and say reset local correction setting. So I'm going to start, I'm just going to start brushing like so. So remember to check the mask box here, and so as to be able to see where you're applying your brush. So I'm going to reduce the size of my brush just a little bit. I think my flow is fine the way it is, and I'm just going to brush like so. I need to zoom in, so hold on, I'll press Ctrl plus to zoom in. Now you see it's affecting some part of my character's outfit, so I'm just going to hold on Alt and just take out those parts. All right, just a little bit, just like so. So I'm going to zoom out just like that, and I need to add this side. Okay, so it's time for us to start adjusting the color, but first I need to uncheck the mask option here, and under the exposure, that should go a little bit up. The highlight needs to go up about this point. All right, then the shadow needs to go up also to about this point. All right, and for the whites, I need to leave the white somewhere around here. For the black, let's leave the black to just increase the exposure just a little bit more, and I'm just going to say okay. Whoops, this is beautiful. So this is the before and this is the after, and I noticed that I still need to add one more adjustment to this, so I'm just going to double click on this. All right, to go back to the camera raw filter. So I'm just going to go to the sharpness, and I'm going to scale this, dial this up like so. And for the effects, I need to add grunge to this. I'm just going to push this to somewhere around here, just like so, and I'm fine with this. All right, so the next thing I'm going to just do is to hit OK. Add the grunge effects. All right, so let's go to the exercise file, and I'm just going to look for the grunge effect and drag and drop like so. All right, somewhere around here, let's go a bit, somewhere around here, and I'm going to hit enter. All right, it should be somewhere around there, and I'll make a copy of this, and I'll hit Ctrl T again, and I'll rotate it, and I'll position this somewhere around here like so. All right, now as you can see, the color of my grunge effect is black, so we need to change it to white. So next I'm going to hold down Ctrl and Shift and click on the thumbnails of the two layers to create a marquee selection, and I'm going to create a new layer and I'll call this grunge gray, not white. It should be gray. Now hit OK. So next I'm just going to pick a color from the side and I'm going to hit OK and hide these two layers and click Alt or Option for Mac users and then hit backspace to apply the color of the foreground to the layer. Then next is for us to start adding our texts. So I'm just going to type my landscape is not making my text visible, so we need to work on that. So I'm just going to go to the layer of the camera raw layer. So I'm just going to call this camera raw, and I'm just going to go to the curve adjustment and I'm going to drag this down like so. Then I'm going to hit Ctrl I or Command I on my keyboard and I'll select brush and make sure that my flow is set to something around 13, and I'll go to my brush settings and just dial my brush down like so. All right. Okay, so always make sure that your cap lock is not on, because if your cap lock is on, you won't be able to see your brush size. So if I hit cap lock now, you see that my brush has turned to the plus sign, and if I make it if I turn off the cap lock now, you see my brush is visible. So we need to switch to white. All right, and I'm just going to brush like so as to make the landscape a little bit darker. All right, now as you can see that I can see my text. Now you see now that my character is behind the title of the movie. So what I'm going to do is to go scroll down and look for the layer of my character. I think this is it. So I'm just going to hold down Ctrl to create a marquee of that character. And I'm just going to go to the title of the movie and I'm going to just hold down Alt and click to crop out that part from the letter. And for the casts, that's the credits, I noticed that the color is not visible on my background. So I'm just going to double click here. All right. And I'll go straight to the color overlay and change this to white like so, and I'm just going to hit OK. I'm sure you enjoyed today's tutorial. So if you have not subscribed, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you will be notified when I post my tutorials. Okay, and I'll see you guys in my next tutorial. Peace.